5 minutes late. Oh yeah, I heard no reporter, yeah.
No quarter, no running, no burn.
Jeez. It's all mono?
I don't know about quarter.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's right. His mom was just telling me that they weren't sure. Yeah. He was just really badly congested. Yeah. Oh yeah. I don't know how good the warm-up is. They just went third period in overtime on it, and then you come out and it's chopped to hell. Oh well.
Pretty good. They took care of business. They should have.
I figured they would.
Yeah, Northville was really solid yesterday, though.
Yeah. Yeah, they got us 3-1.
Yeah, right. And they were up on Byron Center when I left the rink.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, that
today.
was. We went over there. It was our ugliest game of the year.
Oh, really? Yeah.
From the drop of the puck. You know,
Yeah.
it's one of those as a parent you see. It's like, oh, okay, we don't have it tonight.
It just feels like, yeah, can't make a play, can't do anything.
I told Coop that when we got back and he got home, I'm like, if you ever make me drive 2 hours for that.
Yeah, right. That's tough.
If I didn't,
We gave them two breakaways, and they buried both, and that was the difference.
now we're on to bounce of the puck hockey next week.
Yeah, right. Just play as well as you can, and yeah, just roll with the craziness that comes with one and done. You guys got portage guaranteed, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm hoping for the Catholic rematch.
I think that's what should happen, but
Yeah, on
yeah.
paper, yeah.
Yeah.
But like I said, bounce of the hockey.
Yep.
Bounce of the puck hockey now, so.
Yeah. I meant to look up what Portage's record ended up being. I know they were decent.
It's next Thursday.
Yeah.
And then if we win with like Catholic or they're waiting. Christian and Jackson Lee Christie play, I think, Monday, and then Catholic gets the winner of that.
Yeah.
What was with the game today?
I guess there were a ton of penalties, and it just dragged on.
Yeah, but I mean, they're not in the same.
No, it's just their last game of the year. Matawan, yeah.
Yeah, I guess there was some heat between the parents.
Yeah, it really seemed like.
We're just waiting for the next.
Wait for the next one. You guys are already a half hour behind.
Yeah. Yeah, some of the Forest Hills parents were like yelling at me. I was like, I don't have a dog in the fight. I don't know what's going on. Are you with Matawan? No, I am not with Matawan. Thank you.
I'm an independent journalist.
Yeah. I don't know about that, but I'm definitely not on the other side in that game. I try to be as impartial as possible while still really wanting the team that pays me to win. Good Saturday evening. Welcome back into Patterson Ice Center. One final regular season game for the East Grand Rapids Pioneers. I'm Matt Gajtka. This is the East Hockey live stream. We're happy to have you along. We are late in getting started. In case you didn't notice, it was a 5:15 scheduled start time, but the previous game between Forest Hills Northern Eastern and Matawan went way long, and they might have been backed up themselves. They were supposed to start at 3. I highly doubt they did, but it was a penalty-filled game between those two teams. Matawan won in overtime 3-2, in case you were curious. And in case you're not, it's the Pioneers against the Wildcats coming up shortly, I promise. We've got 17 minutes loaded on the first period clock. We did the warm-up. Zamboni came in, and we're ready for Senior Day for East Grand Rapids as they honor the class of 2026. Just going down the list numerically, Jake Gosens, the senior forward. Senior D, Ethan Brinker. Senior forward, Bryce Bjornsson. Senior D, Caden Gosens. And senior defenseman / forward, Cooper Rowan. So we've got a nice class here to honor for East Grand Rapids, a class that has won the region the previous 3 times that they've gone to the regional tournament. So looking forward to next week for sure to get it going in one-and-done hockey, as East will play this upcoming Thursday right here at Patterson against Portage. The Muskies come to town for an 8 o'clock start, and if East wins that, they'll play the winner of Catholic Central and either Grand Rapids Christian and Jackson Lumen Christi. Those two teams will collide on Tuesday, by the way. So that'll be the regional quarterfinal, and the regional semi is where East Grand Rapids will start its postseason journey. But as for tonight, they've got a rematch against Jenison, a team they beat 6-0 last week in the OK Conference Tournament. And we announced the starting lineups. We've got Trevor Bird alongside Bryce Bjornson and Jake Gosens up front. Whit Hill and Caden Gosens on the blue line, and it appears to be the sophomore goalie, first-year Pioneer Ryder Owen between the pipes for East. East Grand Rapids wearing their special senior jerseys, the fourth jersey, if you will, with EGR diagonally down the front. Dark blue with gold and white trim. Different look, as those arrived just recently, just in time for the final game of the regular season. Time for the national anthem, the Star Spangled Banner on the way. All set for the drop of the puck. We're on the West Rink tonight at Patterson, as East plays its only game of the final weekend of the regular season. The last time the Pioneers were on the ice for a game was last Saturday night down at Griff's Georgetown, as they fell 2-1 in the Tier 2 championship game with Forest Hill Central. So the Pioneers ended up going 0-3 against the Rangers this year. That one stings. They won't get a chance for revenge in that one until next winter. So the focus is on tonight. The focus is also on honoring the seniors, and the focus is on getting ready for the postseason. And that's what East hockey has been all about the last 4 years, is peaking for the playoffs. Can be easier said than done, but the Nears have a track record of doing just that. Trevor Bird, the sophomore, to take the face-off against Miles Ayler of Jenison. And the drop of the puck, and we're underway. Dumped into the zone by Rybczynski for Jenison. The Wildcats attacking the goal down to our right. Jake Gosens lost it momentarily. Trevor Bird helps out on the near side wall. Flushed it in deep, and he gets his motor going. Drives right by Adamczyk on the far wing. Bird soaring into the attacking zone and nearly deked by Thad Rybczynski, but he was poke-checked, was Bird, in the far corner. So last official home game of the year, although East will get to play in familiar environment here again in the playoffs. You'll recall 2 years ago they had the quarterfinal game, state quarterfinal game against Orchard Lake St. Mary's here at Patterson on this rink, and won that game 3-1, advancing to the Frozen Four for the state of Michigan once again. That year they went all the way to the championship game. As Stimson couldn't clear, trying the far side is Atkinson. He angles it to center ice and scooted right back in on the backhand by Hoekstra. Whit Hill fell down, caught a toe pick there. It's the Winter Olympics that time. As Hill parades back for the puck. Whit Hill around the horn, deflected by Levan, and it will escape to center. Skipped up by Gabe Arredondo, the Zeeland High School senior. It's a co-op program for Jenison. Zipped ahead off the stick of Hoekstra. Trip Hoekstra in the corner, we're number 16 in blue. He stripped, though, as the Pioneers were changing ahead of the play, and so no reinforcements for Hoekstra. Flipped into the zone by Talon Sweetike. And it goes around the near side boards. Arredondo pushed it wide of Owen on the far side. Collected by Brinker. And his exit pass rattles off some skates, turned back by Timek against the grain. And the freshman Easton Morris is in after it. Lays a strong check there on Conant behind the goal. That's Heiser, excuse me. There's Conant now trying to get it up and out. Brinker holds in at the blue line. Brinker scored against Jenison last week in that quarterfinal game in the Tier 2 bracket. Back to the blue, and Brinker dusts it off, shoots, but it's blocked up into the air to the near side. Whacked off the near boards by Sweedyke, not out. Another try for Heiser this time, and Heiser for the Wildcats, dressed in the white with green. Do clear into the East Grand Rapids zone. Brinker, beautiful exit pass, connects to Bryce Bjornson. Soaring into the attacking zone is Bjornson. Threw it across. Trevor Bird latches onto it. Poked it right across the top of the slot, right back to Whithill. Bangs it in deep. Bjornson on it. We've had nearly 3 minutes of uninterrupted play to start the game. Starting about 50 minutes late in this one, but the Pioneers look good to start. Here's Bird, driving save, rebound, and it goes just wide of R.J. Voles. That's how we meet the starting goalie for Jenison. Takes the shot off the shoulder from Trevor Bird, way out by the point. Bird intercepts. Here he comes again. A toe drag right in, and he's stopped by Voles, centered it right under Voles. It went between his legs and came out the other side. Bjornson was there, but he couldn't track it down. Quite a shift from this line, and the Wildcats finally clear. Talk about buzzing, icing against Jenison. After all that, Bird was putting on the moves, and boy, it feels like that should have resulted in a goal at some point of that sequence, but we play on 0-0, 13:30 left in the first period. Bird and Bjornson went off against Jenison last week. Bird had 2 goals, 2 assists. Bjornson had 2 goals, 2 assists. And picking up where they left off against this squad from the OK Conference's Fisher Division. Owen clicks it around. It's kept in at the blue by Colin Warden. Banged it down the wood. Brinker settles. Ethan Brinker had a power play goal in that game. East continues to be without the services of both Owen Runyon and Alex Barnes due to illness. So hoping for their recovery. They'll get another few days before Thursday's game against Portage. Muskies, by the way, finished the season at 11-11-1. They only played 23 games. This is game 25 for East Grand Rapids. As Jenison tries to break it out, cranked by Rybczynski right into the teeth of the East Grand Rapids forecheck. So Warden takes it and gave it away to J.D. Meny. J.D. rifles it ahead. It scales around to the far boards where Easton Morse taps it behind the goal. Rybczynski takes some space, but simply coughed it up to Caden Gosens at center. Gosens powers it right back in. East controlling, dominating territorially to start this game, just like they did for essentially the entire game last Wednesday at Griff's Georgetown. Gosens tried to whip it across rink, but that was broken up. Meny on the back check. Defensively responsible, J.D. Meny saucers it near side, nearly hit the linesman with it. But on to Morse, and Morse chips in, heads off for a line change as East keeps up the pace. Early goaling, 5 minutes in, icing again against Jenison as the captain Landon Brewer and their leading scorer couldn't reach the breakout pass coming from their own end. Brewer has 20 points on the year, 13 goals, 7 assists. Quentin Adamczyk, number 10 in white and green, has 11 points, 5 goals, 6 helpers. And as for East Grand Rapids, it's Trevor Bird leading them in points as here comes the shot from Bjornson after the faceoff win by Bird. Bird's on it again to Bjornson in the faceoff circle, but he's stripped by Miles Ayler. Jenison still can't clear, though. They're having a heck of a time getting the puck out. Again held by Griffin this time, and the wrist shot off the blocker of Voles, and it hops up into the screen. Trevor Bird on the season, 19 goals, 13 assists, and Bird set up Bjornson for the Nears only goal against the Rangers last Saturday in their previous action. So Bird 32 total points, Bjornson 16 goals, 31 total points. And then it's 2D after that on the scoring list. Ethan Brinker 5 goals, 10 assists. Porter Brooks, who is out today due to illness. And East is hoping it's not serious, but Brooks, sophomore defenseman, 5 goals, 12 total points for him. It's been a year of trying to grind out low-scoring games as Bjornsson went to the backhand, but he's poked. Heiser got the long stick in there to prevent Bjornsson from invading the crease. Bjornsson behind the goal, swung it out in front, or tried to. It rattles around the crease, and the Wildcats finally escape. But not for long as Cutright had it knocked past him. Bird jumps into the attacking zone, but just ahead of the play. One of his line mates might have been Bjornsson, might have been Gosens, but the Pioneers are offside with 11:06 to go in the first. Hot start for East. You'd imagine that they waited around, didn't play yesterday after playing 3 games on OK Conference Tournament Week to start the month. East has a record of 14-10, no ties. Jenison 2-22, also no ties. Jenison fell to Sparta last night, 6-3. Hill holds the puck at the blue line, down the boards, Levan a shot, Voles the save. R.J. Voles has seen plenty of rubber this year. Levan out to the middle, Rowan fanning on the one-timer from the right circle. Rowan gets back into the play as the Wildcats can't make it happen. Turned over by Theo Keeley. A wrist shot from distance by Caden Gosens, and he looks for a rebound, but there is none. Voles has it in his paraphernalia and hands it off to the linesman. Jenison did get a win last week. And misspoke, they're actually 3-22 on the year. They did get that win in the middle game of their OK Conference tournament after losing to East. They beat East Kentwood 6-4. Also lost in the tournament 5-1 to Hudsonville. Brinker turning away from pressure. Over to Griffin, so Grant Griffin's going to get some playing time today. Many with some speed, roaring through center. Couldn't get past Conant. But good burst from J.D. Many. With players out, continue to see other players needing to step up, and they're going to be given more ice time than they're accustomed to. So that's the opportunity for you to make an impression. If not for later this year, then maybe even next year. Dump behind the East Grand Rapids goal, and it's Many. It's been one-way traffic so far, down to our left. Scooted ahead, that's off the leg of Atkinson. I thought it was. Apparently not deflected by Atkinson. That's an icing call. The 3 wins for Jenison this year, 6-4 against East Kentwood, 8-0 against East Kentwood, and 3-1 against the Kalamazoo Eagles co-op team. 2 of those wins back in December, so it's just the 1 victory since the new year for Jenison. And East, they've turned it up since the new year, as they often do. They were right around 500 as the calendar page turned. Stick lifted center allows Bird to get away. Bird around Heiser, but ran out of space. Centered it out in front. Gosens hacking at it, but he couldn't poke it in behind Voles. Good chance. Jake and Caden Gosens sharing senior night along with a few of their classmates. Snapped into the Pioneer zone by Sweetike. Big bounce off the end boards. Stimson, though, couldn't latch onto it. And the Wildcats turned it over to Hill. Whithill, the sophomore D, up to his classmate Trevor Bird, and lifted ahead by Gosens, just ahead of the red line. Prevents any icing call. No goals, no penalties yet from Patterson. Thanks for joining us on the East Hockey live stream. Our final broadcast of 2025-26. Head up as Brinker leads Hoekstra through neutral ice. Good pass right to Rowan. Tried to stuff it, but it drifted away from his stick, and it ends up in the possession of Voles, the Jenison goalie. East loves to get that puck up the ice, get moving, get going north in a hurry when they can. That can catch a lot of teams off guard, especially at the start of games. Doesn't matter how many wins you have, how good you are. East shocked Trenton on this rink back in the West Michigan Showcase a couple of months ago in similar fashion. And Trenton had not lost a game going into that tournament. One of the top-ranked teams all year. Coughed up at center by East. Colin Warden guides it ahead. Rowan first on it. Up the boards to Grant Griffin, freshman defenseman. And Grant on the chip in charge. Oh, he's leading the charge now. As he tossed it far wing, it comes around the boards to Theo Keeley. Across and given away at center by Warden. Manny, a step back move and a shot deflected up into the air on the block. Morse couldn't track it down, but handed away, by Brewer. Stepping into the slot, it's free for Timek, and he's denied by Voles. Good opportunity for Adam Timek, the sophomore. Timek lays the body on the near boards. Good work. He's putting in a shift, is Adam. Loose puck to Hill. Timek swoops on it. He hands it off to Morse. Easton Morse on the backhand. Timek back to the blue line. Gosens slide across, but just out of the offensive zone, so Hill has to backpedal and fire it ahead. Adam Timek does not have a goal yet this year for East, if you're wondering about that. He's got 2 assists. The only player is not to score goals so far this year, as that's icing against Jenison. J.P. Levan has 3 assists but no tallies. Timek I mentioned, Mason Day, and Grant Griffin. Pablo Alzamora scored his first varsity goal against Jenison last Wednesday. As always, honored to be on the call for any kind of milestone moments. 7:05 to go in the first. Pushed ahead, Atkinson surrounds the puck for the Wildcats. Dished it up to center. Eli Steketty redirected it forward. Brinker circles his goal. One of the Wildcats wiped out. Look at Brinker go. He can pick him up and put him down. Here he comes. Senior down the wing. Brinker looking out in front. Nobody home. He keeps it. Passed it out to Griffin. Poke past him, though. Breakaway chance for Nolan Zavislak. With Griffin trailing, Griffin lifted his stick, and then Owen made the save. And Zavislak's stick ended up in Owen's equipment, but he extracted it. Did Zavislak, but he can't get back to the puck as the Wildcats turn it over high in the zone. Bjornsson barreling down the wall. He gets through a check. Action picking up. Bjornsson looking out for the pass into the slot, and it goes right behind Gosens. That's Jake Gosens. Twin brother Caden follows on. Chips it near side. Hill down the boards, closes off the wall. Bjornsson a shot short side, off the body of Voles, and it jumps into the screen. Well, Griffin got beat initially on the pinch, but then he got back and he prevented the scoring chance, essentially, as Zavislak could barely get a shot away with his stick lifted from behind by Griffin. And then Owen did his part, held his ground on the short side post, made the save. Sometimes for goalies, when those shots get deflected or they don't come off like you expect, those are the ones that can get behind you. But credit to Owen for adjusting to that. Levan centering pass ahead of Rowan. But Rowan's got it. Top of the circle. Took the shot. That was a hot shot, and it's grabbed, with the glove by Voles. Glabbed. I think I invented a new verb. We'll have to workshop that one. 5:42 to go in the first. If you grab it with the glove, you glabbed it. I don't know if I like it. Rowan at the face-off circle. He goes up against Sweetike. Sweetike wins it right back to Herman. Snaps it around the wood. Far side, Brinker got a piece. Rowan follows on, turned it over. Brinker swatted down the attempted clear, but it went right to a Pioneer. That was Levan. So it's a hand pass that's called by the officiating crew. 2 refs, 2 linesmen, as usual in Michigan high school varsity hockey. No goals yet in this one, not for lack of trying. For East especially. Plenty of opportunities. The linesman, who is resplendently mustachioed, drops the puck in neutral ice. Yeah, those stashes, they stand out from up top. Turned over in front of the Jenison goal and slammed just wide. Hoekstra was looking for it. Levan distributes. Griffin shooting. Save. Voles rebound. Poked away. And out it comes. Griffin turns it. Up the near side. East Grand Rapids in their senior special uniforms. EGR diagonally down the front. Gold helmets, as per usual. Blue pants. Gold and white stripes on the sleeves, on the hemline, on the socks. Mishandled slightly behind the net, but the Pioneers recover. Alzamora put it off the skate of Steckity for Jenison. And it rings behind the Wildcats net. Heiser can't clear up the near side. There's a decent move from Atkinson to create some space. Heiser joins the rush. Now he's got to take it back, does Heiser. As he put it over into the near side corner for Quinton Adamczyk. Second leading point getter for Jenison this year. He coughed it up. Caden Gosens a shot. Stick save by Voles, with Alzamora hanging out in front trying for the deflection. Hill at the near point. Lofted it down the wood. 4 minutes to go in the first period. Quick moving first period. In contrast to the previous game here, which seemed to take 3 hours. All the way across, off the leg of Alzamora, into the possession of Ethan Heiser for Jenison. He misfired from 60 feet. Hill picks it up. Morris whacks it along, give it right back to Heiser, though. And he shoots deflected. Great save by Owen. Rebound goes into the far side corner, and the net is knocked off its pegs. Well, Ryder Owen hasn't seen much by way of chances against, but the two he has faced, he's had to be fully awake for those. 3:40 left in the first. That one might have been a friendly fire deflection, and his teammates, sensing that that was a big save, give him a couple of taps on the pads. Off the face-off. And it's turned back in deep by Arredondo, one of the co-captains for Jenison. Turned over, though. Gosens to Brinker. And again, he looks diagonally near side. Bird allows it to redirect off the heel of his stick. He cancels out with one of the Jenison defensemen as Gosens barrels into the corner. Thrown out into the slot. Bird couldn't pull it free for a shot attempt. Sweedyke had his stick lifted from behind by Bjornsson. Double B, Bryce Bjornsson down the wall. Hit by a couple of Wildcats. Takes two to get him off the puck these days. Bjornsson and Bird. Along with Jake Gosens, they've made up that top line for a couple of weeks now. About a month, actually, it seems like. Griffin pounces, and it turns toward the middle. Poked by Brewer. Brinker in tight quarters made the play just in time to Bjornsson. Surging in, cutting to the goal, and it goes wide. I don't think he ever really had control of that as he sliced across the top of the crease. Couldn't stash it in. 2.5 left all of a sudden in the first period. This is Brewer. This reminds me of the first period against Jenison last time, although that was the more even. This time the Neers are tilting the ice big time, but they can't find a goal. Brewer skates for open space behind his net. Hoekstra faces him up on the forecheck. Thrown away up the middle to Levan. Gloved it down. Handed to Hill. Shooting. Save Voles. Rebound. Rattles off of Levan and back off Voles and into the far corner. Levan centering. Picked off by Heiser. Couldn't quite get it out. JP Levan's everywhere. He shoots this one again. That's blocked in front of the net by Herman off the far boards, but not out. Again, it's Heiser up the middle. He gave it to Hill. Nowhere to run, nowhere to hide for the Wildcats. They're still in a 0-0 game. Hill across. Gosens fan on the shot with Keeley stumbling down in front of him to try to block it. Hoekstra joins the party. Twists it back to the point and mishandled by Hill. He's got to hustle back. Pushing the pace, Landon Brewer. Brewer with a sharp angle attempt, but he was checked after he fanned on the shot and called interference. I don't know about that. I feel like he touched the puck. They're saying that's a late hit. I'm not really sure. But with 1:19 to go in the first period, the Pioneers are going to go short. Gosens to the box. I'm not sure I would tell him to do that any differently than he played that situation. That was just a weird one. I guess the argument could be that Brewer fanned on the shot, but even so, he would have been close enough to it that it shouldn't have been interference. So I'm curious the reasoning on that one. Power play for Jenison. At any rate, Atkinson to Arredondo. Back to Atkinson. He scores. He shot it from the point, and Ben Atkinson gets a power play goal with 1:11 to go. in the first. Talk about against the run of play. So the Wildcats did not score a single goal against East Grand Rapids last time out. They get the first one, and it's Atkinson on the power play. So after all that pressure at the other end, it's the Wildcats who strike first. And Atkinson, the defenseman, sophomore. 3 goals on the year for him now, 2 on the power play. Give Arredondo the primary assist as he and Atkinson played catch for a moment after the faceoff win in the attacking zone. And too much traffic for Owen to track. And they're still trying to get the penalty time off the scoreboard. Regardless, Gosens is back where he belongs on the east side of things, on the bench, and back on the ice, in fact. Bird and Bjornsson go to work. Gosens centering. Bird put it off the pad of Voles. He's a nimble netminder, R.J. Voles. Makes a kick save, pushing out atop his crease to the far point. Gosens held it in to the corner. Jake Gosens centering. Wide open Bjornsson. Pumped it off the pads of Voles. Centered for Bird. Couldn't get the shot through. Bird and Bjornsson, man. Just throw them over the boards. They'll generate something for you. Lead pass, here they come again. Bird takes it from Bjornsson. Backhand save. It did not get through the pads of R.J. Voles, who's the star of this first period. 27 seconds to go before the intermission. Be curious to know how many saves Voles has made this season. He's only credited with a .746 save percentage, but I can't imagine that's right. He's only credited with 346 saves. Levan centering it. Too hard for Hoekstra to handle. It bounced over his blade. Back to the blue line. Griffin kept it right on the blue paint. 13 seconds to go in the period. Hoekstra turning on the backhand. Dragged it, centered it. Levan whacked it on net. And Voles again covers up. He's holding his ground. 8 seconds left in the period. And Jenison's got the lead against the odds in this period. Somehow hanging in there and trying to survive one last offensive zone faceoff for East Grand Rapids. Bird against Arredondo. Bird tried to go forward. Arredondo clears off the stick of the Pioneers' Grant Griffin. Back down to Ryder Owen, who holds onto the puck as time runs out in the first. So Ben Atkinson scores the only tally of that first period. Jenison on the power play, and East has a small hill to climb as they go to the first intermission. If I were Coach Newton, I'd say don't change a thing. Keep after it. That levee's bound to break, but as for right now, through 17 minutes, Pioneers trail. Keep it here on the East Hockey live stream from Patterson Ice Center. Time for the second period from Patterson. I'm Matt Gajtka. Thank you for joining me on the East Hockey live stream. Final game of the regular season. Can't hold anything back now. 1-0 Jenison. Surprisingly, after the first period that saw the Pioneers launch 20-plus shots on Jenison goalie R.J. Voles, and just after the start of the period, the Pioneers draw a penalty as Bjornsson tried to push his way through, and he was hooked down by a Wildcat. So East gets its first power play. Jenison scored the only goal of this game on the power play just before the end of the first period. Ethan Heiser to the box for Jenison, coached by Jack Williams. Just 11 seconds into the second period. Face off at the right dot. From the East Grand Rapids perspective, that is. The puck is down. Brinker keeps it at the blue line, ranging over to his left. Brinker drags to the face-off circle. Dumped it on back to Gosens at the half wall. That was interrupted by Rybczynski, junior D for Jenison. A lot of youngsters on this Jenison team. Picked up and cleared by Landon Brewer, one of the few seniors on this squad. In fact, I only count two on the sheet I have, Brewer and Arredondo. Bjornsson turning up the pace. Here he comes, his backhand across into open space. Griffin whips the shot and missed. So Griffin in the usual position, occupied by Porter Brooks. Brooks out due to illness today. East missing 3 players due to illness. Runyon, Brooks, and Barnes. Jake Gosens leaves a Wildcat in the dust, but his pass was blocked by Ayler, and the play bogs down on the far wall. Reaching in Bird, wedged it loose, did Bird to Bjornsson, but his pass eludes the reach of Brinker, and Bjornsson threw his head back in disgust when he let that one go. Brinker throws on the brakes, but give credit to Landon Brewer. He's pursuing. He shoots from a sharp angle, shorthanded, off the pad of Owen. It's actually a pretty sprightly start for Jenison in this period. Bjornsson, though, trying to change all that. Circles the goal and centers, and it scoots just wide off the leg of a Wildcat in front. Hoekstra had the one-timer. Brinker across. Griffin closing, shooting. Save Voles, rebound over to the far wall. Ayler wanted to play it behind. Instead, Hoekstra got in the way. Down to the final 13 seconds. A quick expiring power play. We've just had very few stoppages in general tonight. Hoekstra to Rowan. Dealt it back to Brinker. Pulled it off the wall to Ethan Brinker. Penalty's over. Jenison's killed it off. Griffin again misfired. A couple of times he's pelted the end boards from that spot. Cooper Rowan, one of the seniors in his final regular season game, passed it out to Griffin, fanned on the one-time shot. A little bit of frustration showing for East at the moment. They know by all rights they should be ahead in this game, but that's just not the case at the moment. That's not the reality. They got to put their heads down and keep on working. Rowan into the path of Griffin. Run off at the blue line. Rowan, though, takes it right back in, snaps the shot, and R.J. Voles has it covered. And he hangs on for a face-off. 14-13 to go in the second period. East Grand Rapids this season, in their pursuit of a 5th consecutive regional title, they have once again posted a healthy portion of wins in the new year. Right on Voles again off the face-off, and that's covered up. They rattled off 4 straight wins, did East, from January 10th through the 17th. Rybczynski skates out of his own end. Chip and chase play. He's in after it. Owen, the goalie, thought it was going to be icing. It was not. Waved off, tossed in front, and knocked out of the air by Sweetike with a, oh no, not with a high stick. The net is dislodged. That's why the whistle. So East has won 4 in a row twice in the new year. They also put 4 together from January 30th through February the 6th. The only losses, in fact, over that 10-game stretch spanning those 2 winning streaks were 2-1 to Forest Hill Central and 2-1 to Catholic Central. That Catholic Central defeat ended up pushing East down into the Tier 2 portion of the OK Conference tournament bracket, so they couldn't defend their Ron Baum championship. Sharp angle shot from Bjornsson off the stick of Voles, but again, the goal is to peak next week. And hopefully get healthy as well. That's going to be a big part of it for East. How many bodies are they going to have available on the bench? And which players are those going to be? Bird takes it down the wall. Holds, feeds, Bjornsson. I think he tried one more pass there, but it didn't get through to Gosens cleanly. Wildcats clear off the far wall. Caden Gosens to Bird, one touch through center. Bjornsson lassos it, then left it behind. He gets jammed up with Steketee, rifled right back in by East Grand Rapids. That's an offside. That's an intentional offside, said the linesman, I think. Nope, he's going to just leave it outside the blue line. Got corrected there, I think, by the other linesman, maybe one of the referees. They can lend their input as well. Filtered in by Grant Griffin. Calling his name a lot today. Griffin, the freshman defenseman. Getting plenty of action tonight. Levan to Hoekstra coming down the slot. Dispossessed. Hoekstra got a stick on the exit pass by Jenison. Icing waved off. Brinker stapled by Zavislak, who had the breakaway chance in the first period for the Wildcats. Really just two opportunities. And the goal for Jenison wasn't really much of an opportunity even, as it was a point shot on the power play. Ayler to the outside, into the corner, run off the puck. He got rid of it. Brinker takes it back for East Grand Rapids. And the Pioneers are away on the counter. Rowan through center, dumped in, and East maintains its discipline on those line changes. They're getting on and they're getting off, and letting the next guys have a crack at it. Morris couldn't pull it past Atkinson, who has the goal for Jenison. That's offside, just barely. Oh, it was close. We're right on that blue line basically here. And J.D. Menny says, what? Offside? It was a splitting hairs type of situation on that one. What the officials say, that it was legit. Sometimes you'll see them correct themselves and then drop the puck at center ice, but not this time. The drop of the puck there, and Heiser looks up the right wing, scales it there, but it's right back over to East. If this were soccer and we were judging possession time, as they do in that sport routinely, I think you'd see East Grand Rapids with about 90% of it, but down 1-0. It's funny, as that happens in soccer sometimes too. The team that's countering might end up having the lead, might end up holding on for a win in the end. Happens less in hockey, though. It's just harder to defend for that long of a stretch in this sport. It's too fast. Speaking of fast, here comes Timek, and he couldn't get past the last line of defense. That was Thad Rybczynski. Caden Gosens, rifle shot just wide of Voles. Off the corner wall. Jake Gosens bumped off the biscuit by Heiser. Coughed up to Griffin, long shot, and that's patted away by R.J. Voles. Far corner, Heiser. Dumped it around, near side. Bjornsson ties up Rybczynski. It's free to Brewer. Can he clear? He'll give to Arredondo, and he skies it off the window. 10:48 to go in the second, nearing the midway point of regulation. Still 1-0 Jenison. One last game for the Nears before the playoffs. Bjornsson takes it wide. Outer edge of the circle. Might have hit the crossbar. I think he did. Yep, it rattled off the cage. Bjornsson with it again. Remind me of the shot he took to beat Byron Center. Turned over on the exchange. Back with it at Adamczyk. Shoots off the blocker of Owen, and it jumps over the corner glass. Quite the opportunity. Quentin Adamczyk, the sophomore forward. He has 5 goals on the season. He was looking at a 6th, but Owen steps up. So just a little sloppy out by the blue line for East Grand Rapids, and just like that, well, that's hockey too. Talking about how quick the game can be and how easily it can turn in an instant. We just saw it there. Both ways, as the Pioneers nearly had a break one way from Timek, and then it ended up going the other way. Called a partial breakaway. Wasn't quite clear behind the defense all the way. Strange bounce in front, right to Rowan, stopped by Voles. It's under him somewhere, and he hangs on to it. You're not going to get a better chance than that. Cooper Rowan from between the circles. 9:51 to go, and Jenison still hangs on to the 1-0 lead. Seen a lot of Pioneers toss their heads back, looking to the rafters, just waiting for that first one to fall. A lot of times that's all it takes. Just one. Then you start to believe, the other team starts to think, hey, maybe this is getting away. But you got to get that first one. First one can be the toughest to get, especially in a game like this as it wears on. And a team that you scored 6 against last time you played them. But you know what? In that game, too, it was 0-0 until almost halfway through. So following that script almost to a T, Hill shoots cross corner. Levan trying to lean in. Atkinson poked it past him. To the blue line, Caden Gosens drags it centrally. The puck was rolling, handed it to Hill. The shot deflected, goes in behind the goal. Hoekstra overskated. Rifled off the boards by Brewer. Down it goes. Taken on the move and then falling down, Miles Ayler. That was a break for East. Delayed offside against Jenison, so the Pioneers have a chance for a free exit pass, but it's turned over. Hit Atkinson's stick, and trampoline back into the Pioneers' end. Lofted into the air by Hill. And jabbed off the boards by Levan. He heads off for a line change. Atkinson dumped it in from behind center red. He took a look, and I don't know why he didn't take that one extra stride, but then he fired it all the way down for an icing. I think he thought he was going to get leeway from the linesman behind him, but he did not, as it turned out. 8:48 to go in the second period, and we've got a change of goalies. We're keeping up the trend here this season. Charlie Finch enters the net. Last year's freshman standout, this year's sophomore standout. And the trend is that the Pioneers have split the duties for goaltending right down the middle this year. And so in game 25, to keep it up, Finch takes over. Right almost exactly at the 8:30 mark. It's going to be a near even split of playing time this year. Of course, you have overtimes and things like that mess with the math. But as far as what the Pioneers could control, they're giving both guys equal reign. And we'll see who gets the call in game 1 of the playoffs. Brinker couldn't get it past the picket fence. Arredondo back on the chance, and Finch makes a save coming off the bench. And he pounces on the rebound above his crease as he gets pushed over into the far faceoff circle by a non-charging Wildcat. So Finch is in the game. I wonder if Arredondo realized what had happened. I don't want to assume that he did, but he tested him with a low shot. But Arredondo turned away from the left face-off dot. Brewer won the face-off straight back, but it's deflected high in the air and into Jenison territory. Brewer angles it off the boards. Hill first to it, lost his stick. Throw it in front. Brewer got a shot, not much of a shot though, and it skittered wide. Far corner Brewer again, with one skate having green laces, one having pink laces. He turned that one over on the pass to the high slot. Bird pulls it in, down the wing, a shot that handcuffed Voles a bit, but he hung on to it anyway. With 7:37 left in the second. Still a 1-0 Jenison lead. So Ryder Owen allows the one goal on the point shot for East Grand Rapids back in the first. Charlie Finch going through a warm-up procedure way down to our left. Wow, the face-off is over our right shoulders. Bird kicked out of the dot, so Bjornsson has to take it. Wins it right between his legs. Off to Griffin, pumps the shot that was redirected. Gosens, the chip to the corner. Bjornsson unable to drag it. Gosens will. He's stripped by Austin Host. Fired right back in by the Pioneers. Played offside, wiped out as they tagged up successfully. Bjornsson distributes back to Brinker. Saucers it over the stick of Bjornsson, who shook his head. Bjornsson trying to reach after it. And it's deflected back into the neutral zone. Griffin stepped up, pounded it forward. And again, the Pioneers tag up. And again, the Wildcats have to find a way out of their zone. They struggled mightily with this in the first period. Atkinson up the gut. Beyond the reach of Steckity, ruled that it would be no icing. So Finch has to play it around the wood. Out it goes. Gosens pulls it in on the move. Flipped it behind Heiser. Atkinson reversing it. Levan reaching in. Atkinson back to it. The only goal getter so far. Coughed it up to Rowan. Rowan tried to go back into the faceoff circle to Levan. And it's cleared all 200 feet. Icing against Jenison. 6:29 left in the second period. Much like the first, this one's zooming by. Well, we started late, so we're making up for it. That first period was mighty quick. We'll say that. Now, Jenison's played the whole season. They've just had the 3 wins, so, they're quite hungry. Well, not hungry, they're starving for victories. Hoekstra, the toe drag in the shot, and he couldn't get that on line. Missed it short side. Hill, a backhand feed, redirected by Arredondo of Jenison. Hill, powering his way behind the goal, kicks the puck to his stick. Whithill relays to Caden Gosens. Quick handle and a touch off for a long distance shot by Levan, who's covering the point. And that's off the shoulder of Voles. Ricochets to the far corner. Hoekstra trying to pop it loose. Levan reached under and elevated the stick of Steckity. Cross ring pass from Hill to Gosens, right back to Levan up the middle between the face-off circles, and it jumped off his stick blade. To the point, Hill knocks it down, shooting deflected over the glass by Hoekstra. He was right there in tight, and he can't believe he didn't get that one on frame. Line change for East with 5.5 left in the second. Everything but the goal so far. And East continues to knock on the door. Bird slams it to the far wall, and I don't know what the reason is for the stoppage. False face-off, I guess. Bird tries it again, and it drifts to the far corner. Bjornsson attacking that puck against the kick plate. Heiser was stripped by Bird, centering. Gosens, Bjornsson. Oh, hand pass called in the low slot, and I think that was the right call. It went off Gosens' glove. He wasn't trying to hand it off to Bjornsson, obviously. But at the same time, it is an infraction, and so the face-off comes back in East Grand Rapids territory. We're at Patterson Ice Center on the West Rink. Whip shot from Ayler, didn't get through. And up into the rafters on the attempted clear. Just looking at that name, Miles Ayler. Looks like Nikolai Ehlers of the Carolina Hurricanes. He was just playing against Team USA this afternoon. Member of the Danish national team. Gave the USA a scare today. Olympic hockey is back. Best on best action. Enjoying that. Fantastic time of the year to be a hockey fan. At every level. We got the high school playoffs coming up. Intensity about to go through the roof when it's one and done. If you lose, if you keep winning, of course, you can play for a while yet. You can play for 3 weeks. The Pioneers have been to that finish line, but they haven't crossed it. No hockey championships in team history. They've been close a couple of times. Long head man pass. Bird has it on the move. Looking to center it. Oh, and right off the stick of Heiser and in on Voles. And then players tumble over each other at the side of the net. Bjornsson went down as Atkinson provided the hurdle there. Man, they had a couple of Pioneers wide open if that pass could have gotten through. But Jenison continues to defend right in front of their net pretty well, I have to say. The Pioneers have not had as many grade A chances in the second as they did in the first. Morris poked it toward the slot, intercepted, and winged off the boards by the Wildcats and Thad Rybczynski. Rybczynski first on the puck for the retrieval. Many bashed it behind the net, taking it and swinging it out. Steketee, well, not all the way out. Kept in at the blue line by Whithill. Timek had his pocket picked, but Many on it. And a quick stick and a shot into the near corner. Many on it again. The flip toward the slot, deflected away from Morse. To the far side, Rybczynski. Can he clear? He cannot. Hill with a soccer play at the blue line to keep it alive. Under 4 to go in the second period. And around the boards, and Caden Gosens keeps the Wildcats bottled up. Far side shot off the end boards, and Hoekstra couldn't corral. Many will, bouncing it right to the feet of Atkinson. Atkinson holding Hoekstra, some light pressure, forces the giveaway inside the Pioneers' real estate. Rowan rifles in. Hoekstra chasing after it. Cancels with a dam check in the corner. Losing it, Hoekstra. Right back to the blue line, just barely getting on the ice. Griffin to bunt it forward to Hoekstra. Rybczynski can't get it out, but the Wildcats will escape to center. At Amchik. The backhand in deep. Charlie Finch in the net. He's faced a couple of shots. One right away. Not a lot since. Levan all the way for an off-wing wrister that's off the pads of Voles. I don't think Jenison's going to be changing their goalie anytime soon. Voles is their guy as Bird could not get around Colin Warden. Bjornsson puts it below the goal line again. Atkinson wiped out on a huge hit by Trevor Bird, and Atkinson ices it as a result. He saw that freight train coming, and it had number 3 on its back. Icing and a face-off in the offensive zone. Just past 7 o'clock. On this Saturday, second Saturday of February, last day of regular season play across Michigan. Bjornsson skies it in. Bird's backhand pass, broken up. Jake Gosens to Caden Gosens, and a penalty. Penalty called in the offensive zone against East. Slashing against Bird with 2:22 left in the second. Jenison has its only goal on the power play, so another opening for the Wildcats. Bird had his frustration get the better of him there. Something away from the play, not really related to puck possession or trying to create a scoring chance. Trevor Bird's number is on the board. The penalty time is not yet. And now it is. Just over 2 minutes left in the second. Brewer bunts it back to the point. Across it goes. Ayler wristing. Blocked by Jake Gosens. Must be a Gosens family thing to eat pucks, especially on the penalty kill. Brewer backpedals to the far wall. Out top Heiser. Brewer across, wristing. It was Ayler, and it went sailing high. Might have been deflected. Pioneers clear. Hill all over that one. Drives it down 200 feet. And the Wildcats quickly through center. Ayler to the far corner on the dump in, but Whithill's there first, and with authority, he pumps it off the glass and down. 1:19 to go on the power play, and guess what? Jake Gosens is first arriving on the scene on this loose puck, beating Theo Keeley to it, but Keeley took it away. Miles Ayler right back on the puck to Brewer, stretching out through center. Second minute of the power play. Griffin out muscles Brewer, but the shot out of the zone hit Ayler and ricocheted right in on Finch, and then he had to make a save on that. And then the Pioneers tried to skate it out of danger, but the net was dislodged again behind Finch, and I think that means the faceoff will stay in Pioneers territory. .55 seconds to go. On the power play, that is. 1:17 left in the period. Rowan on the faceoff for East Grand Rapids. But the Wildcats win it. However, it slides right by Talon, excuse me. Quick clear by the Nears. Griffin taking care of business that time. Griffin and Brinker are your defensemen. Rowan and Levan, the forwards, on the penalty kill. And again, kicked out of the zone. Slapped down the ice by Brinker. 27 seconds remaining on the power play for Jenison. The Wildcats' second of the evening. Skipped ahead on the backhand by Arredondo. Griffin rips it out of the zone for East Grand Rapids. Jenison can't get it set up suddenly. Arredondo inside the blue line. 7 seconds left before Bird escapes from the box. Atkinson, a shot, redirected. It was a similar spot that he scored from at the other end of the ice in the first period. Arredondo wristing, saved by Finch. He felt it somewhere in his equipment, and he hangs on. 18 seconds to go in the period. Back to 5-on-5. East has killed off the slashing minor against Bird, and Bird gives his goalie some depth. And thanks for the save. Bird on the faceoff assignment against Brewer. Brewer controlled it. Back to the blue line. The pass goes into the middle as Keeley couldn't reach it. 10 seconds left. And the puck wedged against the boards. Sped out of the zone by Bird. It rides up onto its edge, rolling down, won't get to the goal line fast enough to beat the buzzer. So time runs out in the second. Still no goals for East Grand Rapids. And just the one for Jenison. The Wildcats starting to believe they could pull this one off on the road tonight in the regular season finale for both. We're through 34 minutes of play from Patterson, and the score is Wildcats 1, Pioneers 0. I'm Matt Gajtka. This is the East Hockey live stream. Still 17 minutes left for the Pioneers to come back and pick up win number 15 before the playoffs begin. Stay with us. Yeah, I'll take a Diet Pepsi or something like that. Yeah, I think. Yeah. Whatever. Diet something with caffeine. So. Hi.
turn. We'll
Well,
see how I do.
we got to change it up because the first two weren't working, so I didn't get a goal. Yeah, they did great. They did great. I appreciate all you guys. So. All right, here we go. Third period. Last period, or regulation period of the season. I shouldn't speak too soon. Of course, there could always be extra time, as we saw in the game before this one when Matawan rallied from behind to beat Forest Hills Northern Eastern in the final game of the season for those two teams. 3-2 was the final there. It's 1-0 Jenison now. Voles makes another stop on the outside shot on the right flank from Bryce Bjornsson. That's how we start period number 3. So, East has been in control of this game in every way except on the scoreboard. Caden Gosens wipes out his man high in the zone. That was Keeley, Theo Keeley. Combine those two names. Been doing that tonight for some reason. Caden Gosens on the fresh ice. A little wet in that near corner, it looked like. He sprayed some snow and gunned it up the far wing to Bjornsson. Relays to Bird. Bird over the blue line, shot it off the arm of Voles, and it jumped just atop the blue paint and away harmlessly. Stolen, though, by Levan, threw it out in front, a redirected chance for Bird. He couldn't get it on line. Brinker steps up, couple of moves, Brinker to the faceoff circle. Took the shot from the inner edge of that circle, and he's denied by Voles. Griffin shot, Voles saw that one all the way. Stick save to the near corner. Griffin gloves down the clearing attempt. So we're right back to it for East. More one-way traffic. Rowan, a backhand toward the front, swatted away right back to Rowan, who followed his own pass. Griffin's shot blocked to the far side circle and whipped out of the zone by Keeley. All the way down, it was off an East stick. No icing. Brinker drags it beside his net. It is wet over there. The puck is just sticking there. Turned over, and a shot by Sweet Ike missed the target. Well, that would have been tough on your home ice. Get burned by the ice, literally. That dump around hit the referee, nearly came in front. Some weird stuff's happening in the East zone. So Rowan simply gets rid of it, and it goes all the way down for an icing call against EGR. 15:05 remaining in regulation time. One of the more sparsely attended games of the season for Jenison, of course. It's been a rough year, 3-22. They just got smoked by East 6-0 in the OK Conference tournament. For EGR, looking ahead to the playoffs for sure, but still their only action of the weekend. Everyone knows that after the OK Conference tournament, it was going to be a step down in intensity. No shame in that. Can't be full bore redlining it every game, even in high school hockey when you only get 25 to 27 games in the regular season. 25 for East Grand Rapids. This is game 26 for Jenison. You could play as many as 27 this year per the MHSAA. They added a couple more. But East stuck with the 25 number. Gosens, again, the puck gets stuck in the wet ice on that far side. There it is again. Bjornsson nearly overskated. And the teams are going to have to play through this. It's near the walls that appears to be the trouble area. Bjornsson cutting right to the front, and it drifted away from him. He falls down, makes the pass to Brinker, took the shot, deflected. It was blocked by Sweet Ike. Behind the net, Timek pushing through the contact. Out to the blue line. Brinker goes across. Griffin, another shot from the point. That rattles wide off a stick. Timek reaching. Turned it over to Heiser. Couldn't get it by Griffin. One more shot for Grant Griffin. That's blocked. And he dumps far corner. Vibrantly off the kick plate. Behind the net, Atkinson on the puck, and he ices it. Easy call that time. So East would love to stay out of their end until that ice fully freezes over. It's just interesting. I don't know if we rushed out there after the Zamboni did the job. Didn't really feel like it, but I know that we're trying to get back on schedule. I believe there's still one more game after this on the West Rink. Chasing back Whithill. All the way around hard to Levan. confronted by Eli Steketee. Caden Gosens backs it out, clears it around. Hoekstra trying to deflect it out. Hoekstra turned it over, and a kneeling shot by Steketee hops off the blocker of Charlie Finch and over the protective netting behind the high glass. It's into the corner of the rink, but off the ice surface for a stoppage in play. Just 3 penalties in this game. 2 to East, 1 to Jenison. And East Grand Rapids fans in attendance trying to inject some energy into this one. Right on goal off the face-off. Chasing it, Brewer, but he couldn't get there. Finch pinned it down. Didn't check to see who Jenison has coming up in the playoffs. If I get a chance, I will. Rybczynski across, D over to Warden. He shoots in. And the Wildcats are going to do their best to keep the puck down on this end of the ice, but that's been a tough ask this evening. Griffin lost control of it to Brewer. And the Jenison co-captain smashed on a hard hit by Trevor Bird. That freed up the puck, and the Pioneers are in pursuit. Down to our left, Jake Gosens. Wedging it away from Rybczynski, but now it's stuck in the corner. Hops free. Griffin stepped down the boards. Got it right back, did Griffin, from Bryce Bjornson. Took the shot, did Griffin. I think that hopped off the helmet, perhaps, of Jake Gosens and stayed in play off the glass behind the goal. Bjornson, hands to Jake Gosens. Wanted to go back to Bjornson, but that hit the skate of Theo Keeley. To the point, Brinker. Made a little move, flipped it over the stick of Bjornson. Gosens to Bird, and Bird slashed the stick out of the hands of Thad Rybczynski, and it's penalty number 3 against East Grand Rapids, 1 in each period. And the second one against Bird, 12:10 to go in regulation time. And the Wildcats back to the power play. Penalty kill for East. Wildcats win the draw. Slapped over the goal by Sweet Ike and jammed out of the zone by Caden Gosens. 12 minutes left in the third. Atkinson swivels to the backhand side. Lofted it in, but Hill on the end of it for East Grand Rapids. Hill had his feet taken out. And play continues. Puck won by J.P. Levan. Good hard work, and he clears the zone. Arredondo. Breakout pass to Sweet Ike. And he swoops around Levan. Talon Sweet Ike to the outside. Rowan held him off. Up the wall comes from Adamczyk. Picked off by Levan, and he swings it to center. Heiser, re-entry, slapping it. Hill, it's in his skate somewhere. Rowan has it, clears off the glass. Just barely stayed in play. Over the head of the linesman who ducked. And we're into the second minute of the Jenison power play. Bjornson on the puck, shorthanded. Gosens joins the fray. Backhand from Bjornson into the glove of Voles. He wanted to let it go, but Bjornson was too close for the referee to give him any more leeway. So play is halted with 10:54 remaining in the third. 45 seconds to go on this power play. Ben Atkinson has the only goal of this game. The Jenison defenseman, sophomore. Gosens shorthanded, skates it backwards, then left it for Griffin. I think Griffin was just as surprised as everybody, but he still got the shot away from 60 feet out, off the blocker of R.J. Voles, the Jenison netminder. Bjornson trying to take it all the way. There he goes down the wing. Shooting short side, right over the shoulder of Voles and off the corner glass. But back to a Pioneer. That's Griffin. Sends it in Gosens' direction. Bjornson the pull-up move. 9 seconds to go on the Jenison power play. And Bjornson sees that, senses it, and he wants puck possession so the Pioneers can have it. When Bird comes out of the box, he goes to the bench, and Adam Timek is on the ice. He calls for the lead pass. He takes it just outside the Jenison blue line. It deflects off his stick, in on Voles, who handles it. Well, the closest that Jenison has gotten to a shutout this year, actually they have one shutout. They blanked the East Kentwood Falcons 8-0 on December the 20th. They also held the Kalamazoo Eagles to 1 goal. Weird deflection on the Whithill shot. That puck looked like a flying saucer. It was up in the air. It didn't wobble at all on the tip, and it nearly landed right in front of Voles. He was just helplessly watching it, hoping one of his teammates cleared it, and they did. Morris played it back to the point for East. Caden Gosens down the wall. Timek losing it on the bump, but it's right to Easton Morse. Can the freshman set up a goal here? Hill all the way over. Caden Gosens, quick shot off the mask of Voles. You could hear the plastic from up here. Rubber against plastic. Back to the blue line, handled well by Caden Gosens. I don't think Gosens gets enough credit for how quickly he gets rid of the puck from the point. Morse wanted to crank it on the backhand, but it ended up in the near corner. Strange bounce off the partition. Hill couldn't drag it past Sweetike. Sweetike forces it over to Many. Lead feed, Morse. He's the last man standing on this line. Made a move as Jenison completed the line change, but couldn't hang on to it. Atkinson ripped it away. 8:50 left in the third. Wildcats continue to lead it. They haven't had much of the puck, but they have the only goal. Adamczyk through center. Handed it right over to the East Pioneers, and Brinker ducks behind his net, buying some space for himself to make a play. Up to Hoekstra, directed on to Rowan, in on goal again. Man, Cooper Rowan has been that close to having a prime scoring chance on a couple of occasions. He gets that speed going, and he's a north-south type of player, but that time the puck too far ahead of it. And we are exactly through the third. 8:30 left. It's a 17-minute period at this level. At the far wall, Brinker took out his man, but the puck still squirted out to center ice. Griffin holding. Baylor watching him. Griffin dishes near side, untouched by Jake Gosens, an icing call. Well, not unprecedented for Jenison to take a quality team deep into a game. In a close game, they took Mona Shores to overtime before the Sailors won it 2-1 last month. Otherwise, though, not a lot of close games among those 22 losses for Jenison. So they want to put the capper on the season in style. You know they're motivated. They've played that way, trying to defend. Since they took that lead, Hill, little errand on that lead pass, but no icing this time. It was ahead of center red. Jake Gosens out there. It's Gosens, Bird, and Bjornsson trying to get that goal to kickstart East Grand Rapids, but we're running out of time. 7.5 to go. Centering was Bird for Bjornsson. Tipped away by the fallen Theo Keeley. All the way around to the far side. Hustling over Caden Gosens to get there in time. Plays it behind. Bjornsson centering on his backhand. Intercepted. Still free in the faceoff circle, though. Brewer pulled it out of traffic. Landon Brewer settles the play for Jenison. Simply clears. Hill got a stick on it. He's back in his own near side corner. Up ahead and deflected into the zone by Jake Gosens. He allowed the puck to ramp off his stick on the forehand side as the Pioneers keep rolling those lines. Looking for a hero in the last game of the regular season. To Griffin. We're under 7 to play. Across for Brinker, and it jumped over his stick. Tough break. Brinker's got to charge back for it. And he does retreat behind his net again. Likes to go to his off-wing side. This time he banged it out to center off the sideboards. Levan dragging it into the attacking zone. A shot save, rebound Rowan. It went right in front of the net and pushed wide by the Wildcats. And Griffin couldn't knock down the clear. He deflected it though, so icing is waved off. It went in on Charlie Finch anyway. Finch took over for Ryder Owen midway through the second period as East continues to split those goaltending duties. Going all the way for a shot. Heiser kicked out by Finch. We play on. Hill behind the net to Griffin. Pitchforks it away to Bjornsson. Right over to Bird skating. East to west through neutral ice. His backhand right onto the tape of Bjornsson. Stops in the corner. Bryce Bjornsson to the blue line. Hill. A lot of bodies in front. Wrister from Caden Gosens deflected over the glass. And again out of play. 5:39 to go in the third. And the Wildcats can see the finish line now. They're hanging in, but East is going to have one final push to at least try to get this one beyond regulation. Jenison fell last night to Sparta. Pretty quality team, but they still scored 3 goals. Cartwright, Brewer, and Rybczynski all scoring. That was 2-2 after one. So it's been a strong weekend for Jenison overall, considering where they've been this season. Bird, a backhand, great feed. Bjornsson's there, denied by Vols from 10 feet out. R.J. Vols holding the fort, trying for his second shutout of the year. Caden Gosens takes the puck. Pioneers trying to escape up the far side in front of their bench. They do, but Jenison forces it right back into East territory. Hill, a little fake, and past Brewer with that move. Up the wing, Jake Gosens takes the handoff from Bjornsson. Gosens is there, going right down the slots. Levan couldn't get the puck to him. Could Gosens. Griffin forced to retreat to center. Levan's on it. Clips it across to Brinker. He headmans, deflected, offside, East Grand Rapids. 4:21 left in the third. Rowan, Levan, and Hoekstra the forward line for East Grand Rapids. Rowan said something to Hoekstra. I think he tried to go straight ahead off that face-off. Didn't work out, but the Pioneers dump it in anyway. Heiser nearly overskated the puck in his own end and handed it right over to Cooper Rowan. Rowan in, left it, Levan, face-off circle, looking, shooting, save Vols, rebound into the crease, and ushered to safety by the Wildcats. They ice it again. Cody Cutright couldn't make a play coming out of his own end. So the Nears still with an opportunity. 3:55 remaining. Hey, it's a good test. They might face a situation like this in the playoffs where they feel like they're controlling the game and they should be winning, but they're not. That can be just as tough as any physical adversity you face on the rink. Icing again against the Wildcats. East Grand Rapids this year has been shut out a couple of times by Rochester United and Forest Hill Central. I had to call for that Forest Hill Central game. Maybe I'm the problem. Vols reaches up over the crossbar. I don't know why he took that risk. That could have easily been burped up into the slot, but the dump in from Caden Gosens was going to fall just over his net. I suppose in his mind he was eliminating the risk by catching it, but a little bit awkward as he fell back against the crossbar. Late line change for Jenison as the road team. That means East can counter if they want to, but it doesn't look like they do. And the linesman going over to the scoring area to talk to the official scorer about something. I don't know what that was. 3:34 left. Drop of the puck. Scramble off the draw. Reaching for it, Bjornsson. Pushed off the biscuit. Back with it, Brewer. Jenison's Brewer. Plays it to himself in the corner. But he's checked by Hill. Hill strong on his skates. Charging out of his own end. Here he comes down the left wing. A backhand off the toe of Vols. Bjornsson driving for the rebound, but it was kicked right past him. And Brewer played it up the far wing. He thought he was interfered with. I think he's got a case, but play allowed to continue. Hill headmans. Well, there was a fairly soft call, I thought, in the first period against East Grand Rapids. Maybe it all evens out. That's lofted over the glass by Warden, the Jenison defenseman. And again, face-off in the Wildcats' end with 2:55 remaining. Rowan's line over the boards. Pioneers missing. Barnes, Runyon, wrist shot in on Vols, and it was deflected, and he made the save on Brinker's chance. Griffin shoots, save Vols again, and there is no rebound this time. Isn't that just the Pioneers' luck tonight? Levan was right there. If that puck was loose, it's in the net because he was going to pounce on it, but it did not come loose. It was between the leg pads of R.J. Vols. Hoekstra takes the draw, shooting. Hits something in front. Might have been Vols' leg. Might have been blocked. Hard to tell from this angle. That was screened out. Griffin knocks it down the boards once and twice. Levan takes charge. Thought about a stuff, but he'll take it into the far corner. Up the far wall. Brinker has to step up to it. Levan to the front of the net. Hoekstra lifted it over the net. From just about 10 feet out, Griffin pulls it off the wall. Brinker's calling for it. Finch to the bench for an extra attacker. Shot is stopped in the slot. Rebounds available. Hoekstra backhand. Vols is sprawling out of his crease, and it got blocked. Back out high. Brinker dusts it off. Gave it to Bjornsson. Wrister, save Vols. Rebound, squirts to the near side. 6 attackers out there for East Grand Rapids. Griffin has shot deflected off of Vols and wide. Bodies flying everywhere. Griffin shot blocked out top. Good block by Cutright. Far side play. Bird tying up with Arredondo. Back to the blue line. Brinker. Shot saved by Vols again. 1:34 to play. Brinker one more shot. Deflected save. Vols. Loose puck in the slot. Turned over to Griffin. He shoots. Vols has it through traffic. And the Wildcats fans have a big cheer for their goalie. Frantic action. Can you believe this? Jenison on the verge, but with the extra attacker on for East, they might have to bunker in for 85 more seconds. East not using its timeout, at least not yet. Both teams have the timeout remaining. On the drop of the puck, scramble play. Taken on by Herman. Can he clear it out? He can't. Whithill holds it. Wrists it. Blocked at the top of the circle. Back to Hill. 6-on-5 for East. Down a goal. 1:12 left. Hill at the point. Skids it across. Gosen shooting. And it was deflected wide. Here's Brewer to it. Can he get it out? No, it stays on the blue line. Levan just barely kept it in. I don't know how he did it, but he did. Bird snaps the shot. That missed. 55 seconds to go in the third period. Levan off a leg. Jake Gosens to the puck. Backhands it to the circle. Bjornsson took it away. Bjornsson in front with the pass. It was blocked. Taken away by Warden. He can't get it out. Incredible. Caden Gosens kicks it to the far wall. 35 seconds left. Bjornsson trying to lift the stick of Heiser. And the Pioneers arrive on the scene with a half minute to go. 6 skaters out there. Caden Gosens burrows down the wall, centered it for Bird. He stubbed the shot on the one-timer into the corner. Whithill down the wall, avoids the check of Ayler. Hill behind the net. The puck got stuck in the skates of the referee. Played it to Bird. 10 seconds to go. Caden Gosens, a shot, blocked. It hit Levan in front. He turned it right through the crease. 3 seconds left. Hill shooting, goes wide, bounces far wing. Jenison wins. Wow. The Wildcats pour off the bench easily their biggest win of the year. 1-0 against East Grand Rapids on the road tonight. And the Wildcats pulled it off. A first period power play goal, and that's all they needed. Incredible pressure, and just the Pioneers could not get it in the back of the net. Just the ultimate in frustration on the offensive side. And so East suffers a loss in the final game of the regular season, and that is that. They drop to 14-11-0. They'll go into the playoffs against Portage on Thursday night, and Jenison improves to 4-22. The Wildcats get the W. And handshakes at center ice. Got to admire the way the Wildcats defended in front of their goalie in the final few minutes. Jack Williams and Jenison can carry a win home with them back on I-96, back home tonight. Little moments in a season, right? Even if you have a really tough year like Jenison has, but good for those kids. They get to celebrate something this evening. All right, that's it for me for this year on the East Hockey live stream. Stay tuned to social media channels. Possible I could have some play-by-play for playoff games on the NFHS network, which would be coming up. Well, this Thursday I'll be preoccupied with Catholic Central, so I am contracted to them for Thursday. But if East does beat Portage on Thursday and advances to the region final, then I'll be able to have that call for you on the NFHS network. One last time, good night, God bless. This is Matt Gajtka saying once again thank you for watching all season long on the East Hockey live stream. We'll talk to you next season here on the YouTube channel. Be well and enjoy the playoff hockey next week.